Hi, my name is Tania Willis and I am going to show you how to use the envelope album kit to make a recipe album using the Savor collection. Before I walk you through the album, I want to show you some of the products we'll be using in the album. The main base of the album is this envelope album kit. We're going to use the envelopes from the kit and the pattern paper. We will be using the chipboard in a different way. I'll show you a little trick to use those, but we're not using them for the actual album. And we will not be using the grommets and the threading string here, but we'll use the book rings for sure. We're also going to use the journal tablet. This tablet is full of journaling pages, and we are going to use nearly the entire tablet in the album. We'll be using the flower button dots. These are layered and textured with buttons on the top that look like they're threaded through, and there is foam tape on the back of each of those, so it pops it up off the page a little bit. We'll be using the 6x6 decorative edge cardstock. There's 4 pieces in this pack. We're only going to use the last 2. We'll be making flip-up pages and a pocket page. We'll be using the fabric favorites. These are chipboard embellishments with a fabric texture, and they are also backed with foam tape to pop them up off the page. We'll be using the chipboard stickers. These have a embossed script font on them, and they also have several pieces that are covered with a shimmery silver foil type of paper to give them a look of a true utensil. We'll be using the cardstock sticker favorite pieces pack. You'll have several of these left over to use on another project. We'll be using the cardstock stickers fresh verse pack, and I'll show you how to dress these up and make them look just a little more fancy throughout the album and keep a consistency and a cohesive look. We'll be using my favorite product, the paper lace stickers. These are very delicate and intricate cut, almost a lace or doily look to them, and they're super lightweight. They're very fun to add a little bit of texture and dimension to something. We'll be using the epoxy chipboard buttons. There's several more. This is not a full pack, so there's about double the amount in a normal pack of these. Along with the paper that is in the album kit, we're going to be using the big cutouts. These are die cut, well, I guess they're not cut yet. They're die shaped with an embossing on them, and there's a dotted line all the way around each of these so that you know exactly where to cut to get the exact border to be even all the way around. We'll be using the tomato bisque along with the savory stripe that's on the opposite side. We'll be using whisk briskly along with the bread basket plaid on the opposite side, and the green fleur-de-lis with the weathered green on the opposite side. Okay, now I want to walk you through my album here. I decided to get rid of the chipboard covers, so the album is just 5 envelopes with a bunch of journaling tablet pages in between. I made some hinged album pages, which I'll show you. Every single envelope is embellished heavily with the favorite pieces, some fabric embellishments, some of the chipboard embellishments, and all the closures are done with the button dots. I decided not to use the grommets and the string closures. It would be too hard to get in and out of there. And then, so what holds them closed are these handmade paper clips. And to make those paper clips, I just used a 1-inch circle punch on a piece of chipboard, sandwiched it between 2 pieces of pattern paper that are cut with the same punch, so 1 piece on the front, 1 piece on the back, and then I put a glue dot on the top center, put the paper clip down on top of the glue dot, and then pushed down a flower from the fabric favorite pieces pack. So you'll do 5 of those paper clips, 1 for each envelope. On the back of the front cover we have a flip-up page, and this is made with a 6x6 die cut. It's just embellished on the front and it flips up embellished on the inside. Each of the journaling cards has journaling on one side and generally a recipe photo embellished with some embellishments, and then the opposite side is a recipe card or one of the journaling cards from the tablet. You're going to see each of these recipe cards I created using a piece of cardstock to create the page, and then some pattern paper scored 1 inch from the edge to create a hinge, so that you can put your recipe on the front, you can put the instructions on how to make it on the back side, and then you can include more photos if you want right there. So when you turn the page, you're going to see another recipe photo. This page here is one of the two that is not hinged. This is a duplicate recipe, or I'm sorry, duplicate journaling card. And on both sides, it's the same exact card, so I just adhered them front to back and embellished them with a sticker or some epoxy buttons. Here's another one of the envelopes embellished. It has a cutout, some fresh verse stickers, canvas stickers, fabric, epoxy button, and a journaling. On the back of that envelope is another recipe photo. Here's another hinged page. Same thing, there's 4 of these hinged pages throughout the album. This next page is really fun. I created a flip and fold out book that is adhered with some ribbon in the back and tied just in a loose knot. If you untie that, you'll see that it flips down, it flips up, and then it flips open. And each of those flaps has a journaling spot on it for you to write down a recipe. In this case, I'll be writing down the recipe for this homemade hot chocolate, and then I'll also include where the recipe came from and why it's such a favorite and what we do to tweak the recipe. I love to add Andy's mints to mine. So right beside there, I just have a half page. There's a couple of these mini pages. It's just a photo embellished with a sticker and a scalloped border edge. Almost all the stickers that I used throughout the album, you'll see here too, I used the Treading Water Border Punch from Fiskars to just embellish it up just a little bit more. So on the back of there, I just used that space to add another one of the stickers that's larger from the Favorite Pieces pack and an epoxy button. I like to put brads through my buttons sometimes instead of stitching them. Here's another one of the envelopes, and this is one of the pages that I used, and I recycled those chipboard pieces. This spinner is popped up off of the envelope, and I did that by cutting a piece of chipboard this size here, and I actually cut 2 pieces and layered them. So instead of using foam adhesive to pop it up, I just used some scrap chipboard. Just another photo. This is my daughter's favorite chicken pot pie. There's another hinged recipe page. That's where I'll put the chicken pot pie recipe. I don't know if I already said this, but I didn't write in the recipes for this video because I didn't want it to be visually overwhelming with my handwriting. These are my favorite. These are homemade cinnamon rolls that taste way better than Cinnabons. Another hinged recipe page. More photos. Another envelope embellished, journaling card, chipboard, a big cutout, and this is chipboard also. This is from the Favorite Pieces pack. The back of this one is really fun. It's a die cut page that's folded in half, and I used it to create a pocket page. I don't know if you could see that there. This is a pocket down in there, and I've got a journaling card tucked down in there. I will have my grandmother's recipe tucked in there, and I also tucked in this chipboard rolling pin. This rolling pin is sticky on the back when you get it, but my little trick for that is I keep a salt shaker full of baby powder. And so I just hold that over my trash can and shake some baby powder on there, and then just flick it off, and then you have a chipboard piece that is not sticky. So that's why I can shove it down in a pocket page and it'll come in and out without getting stuck. So here's the cherries that we pick for the cherry pie recipe, and here's one of her cherry pies. So here's a couple more of those mini photo pages. I'll put a recipe back here. This is the last journaling card that I used, and instead of creating a hinged page, I created it exactly the same, but I put adhesive on 3 sides of it to turn it into a pocket page. So I have one of the big cutouts, the little whisk in there. And I have a sticker that I backed with some patterned paper. But you can tuck all sorts of things in that pocket. And this is the last pages of the album here. And again, every single one of these envelopes has the cards inside of it. This one, as you can see, I have some photos tucked in there, and I haven't yet written the recipe on. So once I write the recipe on, I'll go ahead and adhere those photos either to the front or to the back. Okay, walk through the album. I want to show you how to make this little flip and fold out book here. All of the measurements will be in the PDF that's attached below the video. So what you'll need to do first is cut this piece of paper. It's the Savory stripe paper with the tomato bisque on the back side. You'll need to cut that to 9 3/4 inches wide by 9 inches tall. Next, you'll need to create your score marks. On the 9 3/4 inches wide, you'll need to create a score mark at 3 1/4, and then again at 6 1/2. Then you'll turn your page and create a score mark at 3 inches and again at 6 inches. Here I've got my paper completely scored, so now all you'll need to do is fold along those score lines. Once you have it folded along the score lines, all you'll need to do is cut out the 4 outer corners, here, 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 and here. Once you cut out those corners, you'll have a piece that looks like this. Now we're ready to build our page. So you're going to take your cardstock piece. This piece is 7 3/4 inches wide by 3 1/4 tall. And you're going to, about center of the page towards the left, you're going to put adhesive down, just about a 2-inch strip, and then lay your ribbon down on top of the adhesive. So as you can see here, there's only just a little bit of ribbon adhered. Next, you'll take your scored piece, and I have it scored so it's going to fold inward and show the tomato bisque color. You want to fold in each side and then fold down the top and fold up the bottom. Sometimes your folds don't fold perfectly, and all you need to do is open it back up and just trim a little sliver off again, and it'll be just fine. Once you have that folded in, you can place adhesive on the center piece in the back and adhere it right down onto the page. Once that's adhered, you can go ahead and start adding your journaling blocks on top of these flaps, and the tomato bisque just mats it quite nicely there. Once those are all adhered, just fold it all up, and then you can tie your ribbon in a loose knot and trim the ends. Then you can further embellish your page. One last thing I want to show you before I go is how to get the holes in each of your pages throughout the album so that you can thread the book rings through them. I just took one of the chipboard covers and used that as a template, so then you can put your pages centered there on top of the chipboard cover and turn it over and use a standard handheld hole punch that you find in any office supply store. Put that right over top of the holes and then punch.